This one right here is kind of interesting, and people are talking about this on Twitter and elsewhere. The story basically is that there's a thing called Merit Circle. And for the sake of this story, there's Merit Circle, the company, and Merit Circle, the DAO. So Merit Circle, the company, agreed to be invested in by Yield Guild Games. That was not huge money. I think it was like 175K as outlined in this story. But this was part of the investment. YGG did that. But then after they did that, Merit Circle, the DAO, got grumpy and said, we don't think that they're bringing value to this deal, and we want to get out of this contract that Merit Circle, the company, entered into with YGG. Now, this is interesting because it brings up a lot of questions as to whether DAOs should be able to do this. Should they be able to put the company, the founders in this instance, in potential legal hot water over their particular feelings about the terms of this deal? And right now we're seeing this unfold publicly. There's proposals in the Merit Circle community. YGG issued a statement last night, and we sort of summarized the drama in this piece here, which is potentially interesting for how DAOs govern themselves going forward as it relates to the real world of legal entities and courts and all that stuff. So I'm going to throw this straight to Christy for initial assessment. What about this story stands out to you, and why might it matter if it doesn't matter already?
Oh, I want to just pick up on one thing that you mentioned about, should DAOs be able to blah, blah, blah. And I think that is sort of at the heart of what a DAO is. Should DAOs be able to blah, blah, blah? Yeah, because that's kind of the point. The members get together and they go, we don't like the way that blah, blah, blah is happening, so we're going to blah, blah right back at them and say, we want to do this instead of that. That's why there are governance tokens. That's why people participate, because they want that kind of say in how things are happening. And if they don't think things are happening the way that they signed up for it to be happening, then they can take their toys and go home or send the others home. And I think that's what's happening in this case. They're able to take that step back and go, you guys aren't offering us anything that that you promised. It's one thing to get money. It's another thing to get, promises of other investors and introductions and leverage and intros. And if they're not getting that, yeah, go on and let us govern ourselves in a different direction. So yeah, that's, for me, that's the point of the DAO. Otherwise, why do it? Jen, your hand?
Yeah, before I give my take, I think I must disclose that I am a content director for a lab that is the core contributor to a DAO. So have fun figuring that out while I share my opinion here.
What?
Yeah. We'll get into it another day. So I thought this was really interesting because we have the DAO and we have the legal entity. And the legal entity, the corporation, signed the contract. And it's unclear if the DAO saw that contract before it was signed. So the DAO was under the impression that they were going to get social media, they were going to get support, they were going to get introduced to other investors. But it is very possible that the people who signed the contract saw the contract. It didn't have anything to do with social media and intros to new investors, and they entered into that agreement without letting the DAO know. And I think this is just where the disconnect happened. You join a DAO. I think there's not a lot of information on how much power you actually have when you're part of that community. And I think right now it is just that community. There are still people in place who are making decisions on behalf of the DAO, who are signing contracts on behalf of the DAO. This community didn't all get together and sign this contract. And so I don't really think they have a say here. But that's just my take. Will?
I don't know if I have better take than you. DAOs and NFTs are definitely things that I just have no interest
the alphabet things. Out. We should just call them that. The alphabet things.
They're so confusing, right? They're so confusing. I see some applications for DAOs. NFTs make sense in the gaming landscape, but it always seems to end up in bickering and fighting somehow. Every DAO story I feel like we talk about is DAO X is mad at person Y or the other way around. And it's because the structure of it is just so ambiguous. You don't know if who's in charge, who wants what. It doesn't really make sense. Maybe in 5-10 years we could figure this out. But to me, this is just another DAO story where someone's mad at somebody else. Sun keeps coming up every day. It's the same thing. Zach, your take?
I guess my take is if this gets seen as DAOs being a means to escape legal agreements with real world legal entities, I think that's a really like slippery slope that DAOs could be
That's a good
entering
point.
on, right? It's like, okay, yeah, the company did this deal, but now we're run by the DAO, and the DAO says that deal sucks. Like, are companies going to want to like
DAO
enter
has
into
spoken.
agreements with DAOs now? Like, I don't know. I think there's potential ramifications beyond the particulars of this case. You know, YGG says, hey, we never promised any value add services. What are they talking about? And, you know, whatever the misunderstanding is that led to that initial rift, I don't know. I'm not here to arbitrate that, but I do think that there are ramifications for how DAOs continue to interact with real world legal structures. And I think like this could be potentially like a landmark instance of seeing how this gets hashed out, and whether or not it ultimately spooks, known companies and entities from interacting with these DAOs, these other things that are in this kind of gray area right now. But Will, I'll toss it to you for your last thoughts.
Okay.
I think I saw you again.
Last thought, you just sparked a business idea that all of us could get on the ground floor of right now,
Oh
which is
my
legal
gosh.
arbitration between DAOs. We form a DAO for legal arbitration between different
Law
DAO communities.
DAO.
Law DAO. You guys in?
I'm
Yeah.
down.
I'm head of the DAO.
Let's
No
go.
pun
Sorry.
intended.
Okay, yeah.
I'm down.
Okay,
Oh my
Jen's
God.
out.
All right.
Don't kick me out of the DAO.
Too late. We
With
both
puns like that,
I've been
there's
voted
simply
off
no
the island.
choice. Yeah. Governance proposal number 1.
Okay, let's
Remove
shut it down.
Jen and her puns.